So black people cannot nation build if we don't understand what nations are, right? Check out my Twitter at Onitase, Onitaset. Make sure you subscribe, follow. What I want to go into is just a little bit of what a nation is so that we can really get into nation building. So I put on Twitter, I'm thinking of writing a new book. Why do black people fail at nation building and how we can succeed? You want it to be positive. So I think I'll design a course on nation building around this premise. The gist of it is how we mistake, especially in black conscious communities, what nation and nation building is. Obviously, stay tuned. I did get a response by this brother at Needs Must Ave. He said we do not invest or respect the utility of solid institutions, the leaders and the institutions, and once they die, the leaders are the institutions, and once they die or are removed from office, their programs, good or bad, die with them. That's a very good point. Now, I want to emphasize that we have to have a bigger and broader view of nations. So I did reply. I said, this is a part of it, and also a part of why we don't nation build, right? And I just want to probably articulate on this notion. I said I did write we misunderstand nation, so we misunderstand nation building. And here's what I want to clarify, right? I say the nation is the governing body. Okay? So, for example, the United States nation is Washington, D.C. So you got to understand that. I.e., namely, it's governmental bodies. Mainly Washington, D.C. is governmental bodies. And this clarifies our problem. If you do not have a governing body, if you're not a part of the governing body, you're not a part of the nation, right? And when you say let's improve the institutions, you're talking about improving the governmental institutions of that. You could say country, you could say pop, you could say that space, whatever. But that's what the nation is. It is the overclass. It is the elites. It is the governing, the governors, not the governed, the governors, right? Nation building then means improving, facilitating those governors, that overclass, those elites. You see what I'm saying? It's not, it's not really the underclass. It's not really the commoners. It's not that. And this is one of the notions that if it doesn't get through to you, unfortunately, you'll never advance as a people. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, not everything's dependent on you, the listener, but as a people, if we don't understand that realistically, all of these other nations exist to facilitate their overclass, mainly, primarily, then you're not going to be able to replicate it. And one of the things I like about, so I want you guys to check out the Book of Power, obviously. But one of the things I like about the Book of Power is that at one of these essays that I have inside the book, and I'm kind of just looking around to see if I have a copy right next to me. But one of the things I like about the book is that I talk about one early occasion in African history. This early occasion was in ancient Egypt. In fact, you might not get it from you're not only going to get it from the Book of Power, obviously, but you can get it from When We Ruled as well, right? And in When We Ruled, he talks about how in Egypt, ancient Egypt, the first dynasty, right? The first dynasty was not Egyptian. Okay, the first dynasty of Egypt, the ruling class was not Egyptian. But when you looked at how they were buried, right? They were buried in opulence, right? And what that should inform you of, right? What that is a written record of is that, and remember, not everybody was buried in opulence, obviously. What that's a written record of is that there was a ruling class that established Egypt primarily for its own ethnic group. See what I'm saying? Primarily for its own opulence. And that's really how everywhere it goes. What is America? America is a nation that's designed for the opulence of those in Washington, D.C. and those around Washington, D.C. You know what I mean? And not to say, and not necessarily physically around, but those engaging Washington, D.C. You see what I'm saying? Like, the manufacturers who engage Washington, D.C. Oh, we'll build boats for you. We'll build planes for you, so on and so forth. The same can apply to, the capital of England, the capital of whatever, right? The point being, right, that everywhere the nation is focused around this governing body. That said, when we are discussing nation building, right, we have to really, really stress and emphasize that we are dealing with a people group, like a group of people. Okay, we're dealing with a group of people who we're dealing with a group of people who the nation will primarily benefit. Not only that, but they will primarily direct the nation. And so this is kind of a slap on the face in terms of how we understand nation building, because we're always, oh, well, how about how the people are doing and the masses and so on and so forth, the population, and I built this, you built that. Once you get rid of that notion and understand that there is an overclass that will constitute this nation, right? That's when you can engage in real nation building. When you do not understand this concept, right, there is no nation building being had. So obviously I'm going to design a course, maybe it's going to be a book, so on and so forth. But if whenever that happens, or even if it does happen, it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. You can always check out the Book of Power. It's available on Amazon. It's $50. It's 500 pages. It's very well articulated, very well written, and it's really, realistically speaking, power, like one of the 3 books I would recommend to every African person, right next to Ptah Hotep and right next to Message to the People. Those 3 books, the Book of Power, Ptah Hotep, Message to the People, those are the 3 books I recommend everybody reads. And of course, I recommend Book of Power because it's going to give you that understanding of nation building that is lacking and missing among our race. And that with that understanding, we could probably be a much more advanced people sooner than later. Anyway, Shamiam Hotep, Uncle Jas and Neb Neb. I'm in my Dua Nature.